Hello and welcome to Panther Sports Zone. I'm Worthington Moore.
And I'm Caleb Carter.
So, over the weekend, the Prairie View A&M baseball team defanged the Texas Southern Tigers to improve to an 8-4 record in SWAC in just one game out of the first place in the West Division. Caleb, you were there, so how did everything kind of work out?
It was an amazing sight to see Worthington because, I had the opportunity to talk with Coach Riggins, and one thing that he said was that PV, they've had their struggles against TSU, it being since 2016 that they were able to win a series. Mm-hmm. But they were able to come away with that series win come last weekend, excuse me. And more on that story with this video.
If you thought the Prairie View Texas Southern rivalry was dead, then you just missed out on some good baseball. In the first of the three-game series, the Panthers would win comfortably 14-4 over their Houstonian rivals. But Game 2 is where it all went down, as questionable officiating and trash talk from both sides nearly led to an all-out brawl on the field. But PVAMU would use that passion and win a 10-9 nail-biter, sending the players into a frenzy. However, the third game wasn't even close, as PV fell down big and never recovered, losing 16-4. Here's Coach Riggins on what he thought about the weekend.
I'm happy that we got the series win, but I'm not happy about how we ended up. You give up 17 hits, you make 6 errors, and you get 6 walks and hit by pitchers. It's hard to win a game like that. And then we didn't hit. So we got to get back to the drawing board. We got to get back to doing what we do best. Is hitting the ball middle the other way. And we didn't do that at all today. I think all our outs was on the left side of the field. We got to be better. We got to be better. We got to be disciplined. We got to do what we know that works for us. And today we didn't do that.
The Panthers will look to bounce back this Tuesday as they take on the Huskies of Houston Baptist. This is Caleb Carter reporting for the Panther Sports Center.
Thanks, Caleb, on that wonderful MMJ.
Thank you.
Let's say well done. Well, switching things over to softball, the Prairie View A&M softball team picked up 2 wins out of the 3-game series this past weekend over the Southern Jaguars. In the first inning of Game 1, the Lady Panthers struck first with a one run as Vivianas Figueroa homered to center field for a 1-0 lead. In the bottom of the third, the Jaguars got onto the board to take a 2-1 lead over Prairie View A&M. Then after a 2-run fourth inning, Prairie View added 3 runs on an RBI single by Audrey Garcia, advancing the Lady Panthers to a 4-2 lead. Now, Michaela Barnes sported a 2-run homer to left center to kind of just put it out of reach, adding 2 more runs to make it a 6-2 lead. And then the Lady Jaguars added one more run in the last inning, but it wouldn't be enough as PV took the opener. Game 2 got off to a little bit more of a rocky start for the Panthers as they led up 7 runs in the first inning. The Panthers clawed back with a combined 7 runs in the third and fourth inning, marked by a Jada Davis and Viviana Figueroa home run. Down 9-8 going into the final inning, the Lady Panthers rattled off 5 runs to take Game 2 as well. A common trend in the series, PV once again scored first in the final game with 3 runs off a Figueroa double and unforced error by the Lady Jaguars. After scoring in the bottom of the first, Southern added 6 more runs in the second inning as the Lady Panthers only scored once more to a 7-4 final score. Tomorrow, the Lady Panthers return home as they play host to the Islanders of Corpus Christi for doubleheader action starting at 1 p.m. on the PVAMU softball complex.
Now to talk a little bit about track and field. The Panthers track and field teams didn't have to travel far this weekend, heading up to Texas A&M for the 44 Farms Team Invitational at the E.B. Cushing Stadium in College Station. On the first day of competition, distance standout Jamal Wolt broke his own meet record as he set his last year in the 5K to a personal best of 14 minutes and 33 seconds in the event. In the 100-meter dash, Morgan Mukes and Asja Harris were the first to cross the line for Prairie View with near identical times of 11.83 and 11.84 seconds. The duo were also the top 2 Panthers in the 200-meter dash, running 24.25, seconds and 24.32 seconds, respectively. Sophomore Jordan Deadweiler had an incredible performance, running a PR of 57.66 seconds in the 400-meter dash and a time of 1 minute, 1.84 seconds in the 400-meter hurdles. The 400-meter dash saw a bevy of personal bests for DJ Cobbs, Christian Derricks, and Camden Parsi, who rank in the top 8 for this event in the SWAC this season. Lastly, one of the nation's best triple jumpers in the nation, Nathan Crawford Wallace, easily won the triple jump competition with a leap of 15.6 meters and placed 4th in the long jump at 7.34 meters. The Panthers will take this week off before heading to the track April 23rd as they get to set in the compete Fred Duckett Twilight Invitational at Rice University. When we come back, we'll go over Alabama State's bowling appearance in the NCAA regionals. And something else to talk about, we're going to talk about SWAC dynasties. Don't go anywhere after the break.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
And welcome back to Panther Sports Zone. The Alabama State Lady Hornets saw a historic season come to an end at the NCAA Regional at the Royal Scott Bowling Alley with a pair of losses to number 3 Vanderbilt and Youngstown State by identical 2-0 scores this past Friday, April 8th. The appearance in the Regional was the first NCAA tournament berth for the Hornets in school history. Alabama State opened the day with a 2-0 loss to number 3 Vanderbilt to open play in the Regional on Friday morning in a match format that included traditional and Baker play, with the best-of-7 set as a tiebreaker. The Hornets dropped a 1,075 to 914 decision in traditional play despite a 202 round by Savannah Razor that consisted of 5 strikes and 4 spares picked up in the match, while Bailey Chapman picked up a 197 with 4 strikes and 3 spares. In the Baker round, Alabama State dropped 3 of the 5 matches and ended the round falling 1,002 pins to 971. The Hornets dropped their traditional round play to Youngstown State 934 to 885 in a round with Lyric Osteen leading the way with a 198 from the leadoff position. She finished the round with 6 strikes, including 3 consecutive to end the round, and picked up 5 spares, while Chapman finished with a 183 with 3 strikes and 4 spares. The Hornets dropped the Baker round 908 to 844. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, is especially with this year, we've seen a lot of back-to-back champions. I think for Jackson State University in terms of their football program, I think also to their women's basketball program. But we haven't really seen a lot of dynasty. So I just wanted to ask, how difficult is it to, build up a winning program that wins every single year within the SWAC?
Right. I mean, to that point, I mean, the reason why I feel like you don't really see it much in college as you would, say, in a professional league is because, first of all, you have to deal with recruits, right?
Yeah.
So you're always going to have a new turnover of guys who you're going to have to reestablish that culture and get them on the same page of what you would have your program, what you would want them to do. Yeah,
definitely. And I think as because it used to be that SWAC had just 10 teams. Now you have 2 additional teams that's adding fresh faces, fresh new recruits, and Bethune-Cookman and
FAMU.
FAMU, definitely. So it definitely opens things up a lot, and I think because you cover baseball a lot, now you see instead of the traditional 5 teams for the West Division, 5 teams on the East Division, now there are 6 teams. So that's kind of like an extra series because every single team within a season they play one another. So that's an extra series, and that's just trying to find out how to deal with these new opponents. And I think that's another fascinating point to look at. And there even still there are some more talks about other schools and teams like joining the SWAC. So I think they want to add like 2 more. So they would go from 12 to 14. So that would then add to that number, and so it just gets harder and harder. And like you said, recruiting definitely plays a part in that. And it's the reason why, on a rare occasion, there have only been I'd say 1 in recent memory, being the Alabama State lady track and field, and I think Alabama State also on the men's track and field side.
Right, and to go along with the point of turnover rate, I mean we look at the coaches, right? Because the coaches have been now the main draw because you have so many high-profile names. You got Cynthia Cooper coaching the basketball for the women's team at TSU. We got Deion Sanders, as we know, at Jackson State, and the list goes on. So when we look at these coaches, right, some of them, for better or for worse reasons, we see what they do. They use these HBCUs, in the SWAC as stepping stools, right? Yeah. We see talks of Deion Sanders possibly leaving Jackson State after a certain amount of time has passed. So although we're seeing Jackson State, they're going to maintain some consistency as of recent, but I fear that once Deion Sanders leaves, that they may go down, and that goes to the point of it's going to be hard to build a dynasty, right? Because once Deion leaves, once Cynthia Cooper possibly leaves, or any of these high-profile name coaches leave, that the recruits won't be coming to these schools. Yeah,
definitely. I just going into that, note of recruits and Deion Sanders, I believe former, and also the level of play within the SWAC, within our conference has also been improving as well, because I think one of the coaches from used to coach for the Cleveland Browns, and I think his name is Hugh Jackson. He's also coming
to Grambling.
And so that's I really think it's not to just put it all in one person, but I think that's the Deion Sanders effect, which is just getting more more eyes, more money, more resources, more talent coming to these HBCUs. And it's not as if other schools are just like laying back and saying, okay, it's a watch, this football season over, this basketball season over, we should just fold in, turn in the towel. All these schools are then in turn raising their own level of competition, raising their own skills and talents, and everything that has to do with that, and making sure that other teams don't completely leave them in the dust. And I think that's one of the reasons that helps not only every single program, but it is also the reason why we don't really see a lot of dynasties.
Yeah, I mean, and to that point, I mean, because when we look at college sports, I think the closest thing we have to a dynasty right now would be Alabama football, right? So, and they don't win the title every year, right? Because right now you have the transfer portal. You have these kids with the opportunities to leave. So it's just a bit of a different outlook in college sports. Because unlike in professional sports, these guys don't have their skills all the way honed yet. So although you may be able to capitalize on it one year, you may not be able to strike lightning in a bottle twice.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. You don't get them for as long as professional athletes. Kind of like going to compare to like the NFL. Generational quarterbacks. That's why whenever teams they go in the draft, they try to find their guy. And they try to make sure that that's someone who can stay on their team for years and years to come. Versus the collegiate level, say that you have a one and done athlete. Say they have someone who's looking to make a splash on their team, but then after they do that, they prove to professional teams that they're ready, and then they go off to the professional leagues. I think that's also the reason why, and it's why whenever you do see those dynasties, those teams that every single year They bring it and they win back to back to back. I think of like I said before, Alabama State and the Lady Hornets track and field team, and that's why just from 2009 to about 2019 is why they had they were winning not just one or two, they were winning all those championships, both indoor and outdoor, and that's a feat that is just remarkable because that just doesn't happen, or it really shouldn't happen, but it just does. So that's why overall, those things are just astounding to see.
Right, and one last point about, because I thought what you just said was really good, because we see these one and dones, right, in college basketball, and I think that's a huge reason about, especially with these new opportunities that you see in the G League. You see these NIL deals, so kids aren't going to these traditional powers, right? They aren't chasing that national championship that they used to back in the day. They're going to chase the money, right? And all power to them, right? As they should, because we all know that college sports can be fleeting. So we're not going to see those traditional powers like a Duke or UNC, maintain that success like they're used to, because these kids nowadays, once they have a good year, like you just said, they have league aspirations. Yeah. So I mean, it's true. It's going to be hard to see any true dynasties, just like you said, with the Alabama State doing what they're doing on the track and field.
Yeah, respond to that. It used to be that colleges used to be the brand, but now student athletes themselves are the brand. They're the people that
That's a great
companies want to reach out to, instead of it just being overall, okay, this person went to Duke. No, this person is their own their own product. They're literally bouncing off of themselves. But yeah.
I mean, that's a great point. I mean, just because we could go all day on this.
Yeah,
but,
we could.
I mean, because you look at, just real quick, you look at Zion. I mean, nobody hardly, we know he went to Duke, right? I mean, that's why that put him on the map for some people, but people like me who've been able to, just watch some of his highlights in high school, we knew who Zion was prior to Duke, and we're going to know. It didn't matter
if Zion went to Duke. It didn't matter if Zion, Zion could have went anywhere. Yeah. It was Zion, but especially now with the NIL deal, he would have been making so much money.
Millions at this point.
Exactly, and it would have been legal. It would have been legal. It would have been legal.
I mean, they probably were giving him some money under the table anyway. So I mean,
probably they would.
But coming up next, we will talk about some of the upcoming events for PV Sports. Stay tuned after the break.
STEM is precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to learn the difference between sedimentary and metamorphic rock. Go find those rocks. Dare to keep daring. Dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
Hello and welcome back to Panther Sports Zone. So Worthington, although the school year is winding down, things finals is right around the corner. But it's still a lot of athletic events, coming up on campus. So what would you say that you're most looking forward to, in terms of that?
Well, I do have a heavy bias as a track and field student athlete, but I really am looking forward to our upcoming meet at Rice. I believe the full title is the Fred Duckett Invitational, which is not going to be this week, but the next week after. And the reason why I kind of view that as something to look forward to, is that it is basically the last, track meet before SWAC. And I think everyone knows how important, SWAC, the big, championship conference meet and all that is. But I kind of view that last meet that even comes before that as just equally important, because that's your last opportunity to really, see if you're going to hit your marks, hit your times, if you still, just to see where you stand within the conference itself. And, it's not to say that rankings or any of those metrics matter, but it can feel good. It gives you a little bit of a confidence boost. It gives you a little bit of, yeah, I got this.
Okay.
I'm top 3 in this event. I might not, get that position at SWAC itself, but it lets you know, okay, I am where I need to be at this point, and going forward, whenever it does come to SWAC, I think I'm good. And then it kind of, like I said, alleviates a lot of those pressures that, as a student athlete, you normally associate with, with the sport.
Right. And I can see why you would be looking forward to that. I mean, the track team is phenomenal. You do a great job. I mean, I always ask you, how have your meets going for you, and it seems like you always set a personal record for yourself. So I can't wait to see what's going on the track side. But for me, I guess I would have to say that I'm looking forward to this year's football spring game.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Nice.
I mean, because the reason why I say that is I feel like this spring game, it could be a bit bigger than just football, right?
Yeah.
And hear me out on this one, because
All right.
last year, well, the previous 2 years, we've been going through COVID, right? We just have transition between a new head coach, right?
Yep.
Got a lot of new recruits coming in, and a lot of new eyes on PV with this new HBCU love that's coming in. The alumni are going to be excited because, like I said, with that HBCU pride, people are going to come out and try to support. So with this spring game, I feel like it could be a real good benchmark as to where PV should be going into the next season. Not only with the football team, right? Because we want to see what Coach Bubba McDowell is going to provide to the team, because by all accounts, right, he seems to be a great guy. The players seem to love him. I mean, our friend who works here, Josh Crawford, he seems to really support Coach McDowell. And I mean, so all eyes are going to be on him, former NFL player. We're going to see what he does in the future years. And to go along with that, we want to see some fans come out a little bit more, right? Because I mean, I was at the SWAC championship game where they played Jackson State, and although granted it was in Jackson, Mississippi, which is
That must have been tough.
It's a tough drive, folks. Let me tell you, because I had to do it. I drove along with a friend of mine. It's not for the weak, but I will say that the Prairie View crowd did leave a little bit to be desired, for such a huge game. But I will say that I do know that the Prairie View faithful out there watching, they're going to show up and show out when it comes time. So I'm going to hope to see them come the spring game.
This is going to be I'm glad that you mentioned the spring game, because this is going to be very interesting. I remember when I came in, it was very, not to say different, but this is a transition period for the football team. And, going to Coach Bubba McDowell as that new coach, and there was a long, arduous searching process, and now, we've had him as our head coach, and we've had to fill in some of the vacancies that were left behind, with coaches leaving, our program. But now, we filled those vacancies, and now it's time to really see what our players can do, what this program really can do. And I think I forget the mantra, but the new mantra that they're kind of running with, because the other one was
run it back 22.
Run it back. There we go.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, run it back. And so we're gonna definitely see if that holds true, because run it back. What does that really mean? For those who don't know, last year Prairie View, the football team, for the first time, I believe since 2008, they won their division, the West Division, for in SWAC, and so that was a very big deal. But that's not just no one wants to just win one thing. No one just wants to win the division title. And unfortunately, we came up short when it came to that actual SWAC championship, like you said, against Jackson State. And so not only is it running it back, it's going back to that SWAC championship title game and doing what every team in the SWAC wants to do, which is win the whole big thing. And so this is going to be I think it's going to be a prove-it year for our team, and to see if it seems as if we have we had a lot of pieces go, but we also in some ways retained some of the players and at least some of the coaching staff, because Bubba McDowell he was a part of the system. He wasn't someone who was brought outside. He was someone who came within
from in-house.
Yeah, in-house product.
Yeah, I mean, and you just think about it. We got a new quarterback, new coach, new running back. So three pivotal positions all have new faces at the top of them. So I mean, it's going to be, like you said, a prove-it year for the football team. And I want to circle back to what you were saying about track, because it almost seemed that you were saying this may be a prove-it meet, the Fred Duckett Invitational, I believe, for the track team. That you said that this would be kind of sort of a measuring stick just to see where you are, where the team is as a whole heading into the SWAC tournament. So I want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah.
Because I mean the team has been dominant, right?
Yes.
But I mean, if there was a spot that you said, if someone were to creep up behind you guys, that could be where they could get you. I mean, I don't want you to single anybody out or any event out in that respect, but what do you think that may be?
Well, they're the track team, they're the men and the women, and we're both teams are just coming off of winning the indoor SWAC conference championship, and on the men's side, our next closest competitor was TSU. They had 85 points. The men had 120, and then on the women's side, Prairie View had 133. I believe that the next closest, which was Alcorn State, was 101. So I know the numbers and about this. Like I did a whole
Right, I remember.
Yes, I did a whole Excel spreadsheet, but that's a story for another time and another day, which I've already told. But I think that when I talk about it's a measuring stick, it's not necessarily a measuring stick for the team as a whole, but for the individuals.
Okay.
I look at it as from that individual standpoint is where you want to see where yourself is. The team overall is still no one's missing, no one's excluded from that same teams that won at indoor. Everyone's still returning, but when we look at this, I look at it as something that Prairie View, and I've marked it as in my head, and this is not like a sign of arrogance or anything like that, but in my head, I've marked it as Prairie View, both the men and women teams, will come to that outdoor championship, which will be held here. Okay. And both should claim the victory.
Okay.
And so the only thing that's left any sort of doubt in my mind is, where do people see themselves? I mean, like I said, I'm a track and student athlete. I compete on the team. It's like you look at that meet before SWAC, and you look at yourself from an individual standpoint. Where do I stand? This is my last, time. This is like my last moment to really just lay it all out there before SWAC, to just see where you stand against everyone else. And then once SWAC comes, there's nothing else you can do. You just got to do what you can. You just go out there and win.
Right. And I can't wait to see it. I mean, like you said, you have it marked in your head that Prairie View should get the win, and they probably will get the win.
Yep.
And let me tell you, I will be in attendance. I mean, let me tell you, I might have to bring my umbrella because I know it's gonna be hot out there.
Oh man, yep.
I'll make sure I don't miss that for sure.
It never fails. Every single year.
Yeah.
It never fails. It's always hot out there.
Let me tell you, I went out there at the PV relays. I had a shirt and shorts on, but I'm breaking a sweat. I wasn't moving, so I'm gonna make sure I come prepared this time.
Yes, sir, indeed.
Yeah, so I mean, Worthington, is there anything you wanted to get out to the people before we wrapped up?
I think I don't think anything really, just besides I'm looking forward to that upcoming meet, which track will run at. I'm looking forward to SWAC, and I'm looking forward to both the men and women's track teams both winning that outdoor championship. And, you know, we talked earlier, even before this, about dynasties. You know, who knows?
Looking like PV might be
Yeah,
one.
look,
Okay.
it kind of does look like that.
Hey, you gonna have my full support. Trust me. But you need. They say dynasties need 3 in a row. So we're gonna have the indoor, the outdoor. We're gonna need another indoor come next season.
Yes, sir.
But hey, man, I can't wait to see what PV as a whole has coming up for us, because I mean, like we said, we got the spring football game, the track having the invitational coming up. The baseball team, softball team, tennis teams all have things coming up. So can't wait to see what PV Athletics has next up. And well, that'll be all for today's episode of Panther Sports Zone. Make sure you tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5:30 p.m. for another Panther Sports News, where you get information around the SWAC and at PV. Once again, I'm Caleb Carter.
I'm Worthington Moore.
And we're signing out.